Welcome to Cultura Latina. This week we're having a very special episode on Latin cinema and film festivals. First we'll travel to Mexico City for an intimate conversation with one of its best directors and actors. Then back to Buenos Aires for an innovative film festival on refugees. Wanna come? Our team in Mexico City did an amazing interview with Damian Alcazar, one actor who seeks to influence and generate social impact and political debates on his audiences. Here's the interview from our very own Laura Carlson. Come see.
Damian Alcazar is an icon of the Mexican movie industry, and not just for the high quality of his acting, but also for the messages that he carries in his unforgettable roles.
Me cae que no tienes idea en lo que se ha convertido este país.
In many of your movies, especially the movies by Luis Estrada, you play the bad guy, you're the villain, but it's a kind of an accidental bad guy, because it's this guy who starts out maybe a little bit innocent and then gets pulled into this game and becomes a monster. And this is a really different kind of a concept than the drug war, for example, that tells us like, there's the bad guys who are somehow inherently evil that we have to either kill or imprison, and there's the good guys who have to win. I mean, how do you explain that? How do you see this?
Tiene que ver con el género de la crítica.
It has to do with the critical genre, which is satire or black comedy. And so we have to explain through this medium that the character is a good person, but he is captured, co-opted by the system.
Para tener más simpatía.
No exactamente para entender más, para explicar más.
So that it will be better understood, to explain the problem better, and also to have evidently a festive reflection, because otherwise it would be a tragedy. It would be to see the reality like in a documentary film that no one wants to see. A documentary film about violence is horrible, scary. So we need to see it from this perspective, festive, happy, of a comedy, to be able to later reflect on the situation. This is the genre in the theater, and if you can even talk about genre in cinema, it's a little difficult. But that is the position of the director Luis Estrada as a creator. It has to be a caricature so that the people get hooked, and later they find out what's going on.
So it's like the absurd fall of the main character, como la caída absurda de ese carácter. And the use of humor is also something that's pretty constant in a lot of those movies. What's the role of humor when you're up against this terrible situation that you describe? How does that reach people in a special way?
Justamente por contener ese humor negro, este género.
Yes, exactly by containing that black humor, that genre, you can speak to people at an intellectual or socioeconomic level. Because the festiveness, the joy of the comedy, makes people get interested, and they want to find out about the caricature, and they're seeing, and they start to reflect on it. If we don't do it with black comedy, if we did it as, quote, reality, it would be too scary. You couldn't stand watching a murder. It has to have black humor so we can laugh about the situation, which is horrifying. That makes you reflect, but it makes you take it all in. That is what art can do, nothing more.
And to laugh is not necessarily to ignore the reality.
Esperamos que no, pero por desgracia no.
We hope not, but unfortunately no. The results we can control, no? People forget easily. They laugh and nothing more happens. You don't move them to act, which isn't the role of film or art, but to move people to a change, to a revolution, but rather the minimum: awareness, sensibility, imagination.
Responding to the hard migrant situation in the world, the International Film Festival of Human Rights for Migrant People took place for the 6th time in Buenos Aires, exploring a topic that's been happening throughout history. Wanna come? Perhaps never there has been a better time to focus on films that showcase the struggles that immigrants face. The recent horrific scenes of Syrian refugees trying to make it to Europe has exposed the disastrous foreign policies of European countries. But it is not only the Syrian people who are facing this terrible problem. Thousands of Central Americans risk their lives to cross the Mexican-US border, let alone the millions of African asylum seekers who flee towards Europe in fragile, overcrowded boats.
The reason I come here because when I read about the festival, it was a very good idea, and that idea would always be present. Now people are saying, oh, we want the immigrants to come to Europe, blah, 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 blah. But they are talking about a specific group. We have immigrants all over the world, millions of millions. So I don't think the situation exactly now, this is a deeper thing that we have to change the mindset of. And I think this festival is a part of doing that.
These issues are not new. Rather, now they have more media attention. The International Festival of Cinema and Human Rights of Migrant People has for 6 years now been shedding light upon grave migratory issues from around the globe.
There is a correlation between the global geopolitical situation and this festival, which touches upon some very deep topics. But these things did not just start occurring now. It is a very old and a systematic problem. Now, there is a particular interest in the issue, and I welcome that. But we must not forget that this is a much older problem.
Spanning over 8 days, the general public will be able to watch 53 feature films, 48 medium-length and short films, plus documentaries and experimental works from 25 countries.
We gather together here and realize that the ultimate identity is not necessarily the identity of a nation or a state. What is more important is the identity that combines us with people from around the world. That is the essential foundation. And yes, it has been imposed upon us that only the movement of goods must be free. But the truth is that humanity must be free.
Did you enjoy it? We expect you again next week for another amazing taste on Latin American culture. See you then.